For the first time, a kidney from a pig has been transplanted into a human without triggering immediate rejection by the patient's immune system. It's a potentially major medical advance that could eventually help alleviate a dire shortage of human organs for transplant.
Guys, I ain't no scientist. I know it's hard to believe, but I ain't. I'm no scientist. Welcome to Grumpy Vegan Grandad. Dan here, newly recovered Mr. Antibody Replicator. So I've just done a week or two of COVID testing. Well, I got infected with COVID, let's put it that way. Still a bit snuffly, but all in all, strong. Man strong. So yeah, it was rough. Let's put it that way. It was rough. But it could have been worse. The symptoms could have been a lot worse. The symptoms could have been fatal if I hadn't had my vaccine tested on animals. How does that sit with me as a vegan? Well, not good. Not good. We do what is practical and possible. So I did what was practical and possible. As you guys know, I lost my dad not long ago. And if this vaccine hadn't been out and I hadn't had the vaccine, or my dad hadn't had the vaccine, I think we would have lost him a lot sooner. He was very at risk. His kidneys were failing. And this is what this is about, actually. This is what this is about. So yes, guys, sometimes we have to bite the bullet and succumb to treatments that are potentially tested on animals and some that are definitely tested on animals, e.g. the COVID vaccine. So it's for the greater good, the longer picture. And it's something that affects young and old. It's killed young people and old people. And it could potentially wipe out the human race, which in some people's eyes, my own included, is a fucking great thing. We're the biggest plague on this planet. But yeah, this is all linked to lifestyle, of course, but it's other people's lifestyle this is linked to, zoonotic diseases. And the rest of us, the vegans of this planet, we are going to be exposed to this. It's something we can't help. It's something that we cannot control. So taking the vaccine was inevitable. And I know some of you out there haven't taken it. Good on you. But personally, I felt I needed to protect others and to protect family, protect myself. So with that said, let's move into this video, because this is on a similar vein and it's going to ask some really uncomfortable questions. So let's play the video and see what it's all about.
For the first time, a kidney from a pig has been transplanted into a human without triggering immediate rejection by the patient's immune system. It's a potentially major medical advance that could eventually help alleviate a dire shortage of human organs for transplant. The procedure done at NYU Langone Health in New York City involved the use of a pig whose genes had been altered so that its tissues no longer contained a molecule known to trigger almost immediate rejection. Researchers told Reuters the recipient was a brain-dead patient with signs of kidney dysfunction. Her family consented to the experiment before she was due to be taken off of life support. For 3 days, the new kidney was attached to her blood vessels and maintained outside her body, giving researchers access to it.
The significance of moving, this into a human, I think can't be understated.
Surgeon Dr. Robert Montgomery led the study.
All of the laboratory tests and everything that we did all looked pretty normal, in terms of what we would expect when we did a human transplant. So two things: no evidence of this, vigorous early rejection. And the second thing, the kidney functioned well.
Montgomery said the patient's abnormal creatinine level, an indicator of poor kidney function, returned to normal after the transplant. In the United States, nearly 107,000 people are presently waiting for organ transplants, including more than 90,000 awaiting a kidney. That's according to the United Network for Organ Sharing. Wait times for a kidney average 3 to 5 years.
The idea is we would need to identify individuals who have a really low likelihood of being offered a human kidney and have, a poor prognosis on dialysis. And where even, 2 years or a year of a functioning kidney would be an important thing.
Montgomery said the NYU kidney transplant experiment should pave the way for trials in patients with end-stage kidney failure, possibly in the next year or two.
So, there you have it, folks. So basically, they've genetically altered a pig to switch off some... I mean, guys, I ain't no scientist. I know it's hard to believe, but I ain't. I'm no scientist. But I look at what I see in front of me, and what they've done is they've genetically altered a pig. So this gene that normally switches on or causes a rejection has been somehow switched off. That's what I'm gathering from this. And this involved using a patient who was basically brain dead and was being kept alive on life support machine. And the family had decided that it was time to switch it off, and were approached by NYU Langone Health and said, can we do this experiment because this patient had failing kidneys? And they agreed to it. So it was a perfect storm to test out, and it worked. Hurrah, I think you all say, hurrah. Yeah, sounds like a really, really good advancement. But where's it going? Where are we going with this? Is this vegan? Would you accept a pig's kidney as a vegan? Now, there's some of you out there, and you probably, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't accept I'm vegan, I wouldn't accept a kidney. I wouldn't accept this. But the thing is, there's a lot of you out there who talk the talk, but when it comes down to it, can you walk the walk? Can you really walk the walk? Because there's a lot of situations in life where we'd like to say, well, I'd do this, I'd do that. You know, if I saw this person in the supermarket, I'd give them a piece of my mind. I'd tell them this. And then when you go down that aisle and bump into them, it's hi, bye, you know. So would you let your son, daughter die rather than allow them to have a pig's kidney? Would you yourself rather die than accept a kidney from an animal that has been genetically modified, that has been abused? This is why I reference the COVID vaccine. Many vegans have accepted the COVID vaccine. It's been tested on animals. It's all about survival. And this is about survival. But is it? And where's it going? There's a lot of questions about this. So, how many people are actually in need of I think this is an old, I think this is about 90,000 people. There are currently 121,000 people waiting for life-saving organ transplants in the US. Of these, 100,791 await kidney transplants. That's 2016. There's an early one. Over 3,000 new patients are added to the kidney waiting list each month. 13 people die each day while waiting for life-saving kidney transplant. Every 14 minutes someone is added to the kidney transplant list, blah 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 blah. You know, and there's some of the figures, but what causes it? CKD, chronic kidney disease. So let's have a look. Key facts about chronic kidney disease. 37 million American adults have CKD, and millions of others are at increased risk. Early detection can help prevent the progression of kidney disease to kidney failure. Heart disease is the major cause of all death for all people with CKD. Hypertension causes CKD, and CKD causes hypertension. African Americans, Hispanics, Pacific Islanders, American Indians, and seniors are at increased risk. 2 simple tests can detect CKD: blood pressure, urine albumin, and serum creatinine. The 2 main causes of chronic kidney disease are diabetes and high blood pressure, which are responsible for up to 2/3 of cases. The 2 main causes are dietary related. So again, we go back to the allopathic medicine video I did. Mr. Rockefeller. You know, it seems to be all about putting us right rather than addressing the problems that cause it in the first place. Putting things right. I mean, how much does this company make? You know, because it's all about the dollar, isn't it? It's all about the dollar, a lot of it. These companies wouldn't be doing this research if there was nothing in it for them. I mean, this company is a non-profit organisation, supposedly, but take a look at this. Take a look at this. So the NYU's made 400 million in profit last year. That was in 2015. Well, technically not profit, seeing as NYU is a non-profit organisation. But having non-profit status does not necessarily prevent the university from holding excess funds. NYU's tax records show the university's revenue exceeded its expenses by $398,812,562 for 2013. Profit in 2010, 2011, 2012 was 149 million, 116 million, and 54 million respectively. So there's plenty of money being made. But where does this leave us all? I mean, should we really be experimenting on animals and using animals and genetically modifying animals to fix problems that can be prevented? You know, they're already refusing in certain hospitals in the UK, I don't know about elsewhere, treatment for people who are smokers. You must give up smoking before we'll treat you. It's fair enough, you know, but drug addicts, alcoholics, they get treated, for certain diseases. Friends of mine have had kidney transplants and they've drunk all their lives and they still continue to drink once they've got the new kidneys. So can we justify using animals, playing around with the genetics to save the lives of people who are causing detriment to their lives by their lifestyle choices? That's the question we've got to ask ourselves. Should we be extending the life of people just for the sake of it? What was it, Jurassic World? Just because we can do something doesn't mean we should.
I don't think you're giving us our due credit. Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Just because we've got the technology to do something doesn't mean we should. What do you lot think? What do you think? Would you take this kidney if your choice was death? Would you really be brave enough to refuse it? Would you really be brave enough to refuse it for your daughter, your son, your sister, your brother, your mother, your father? If it was your choice, would you refuse it? And I don't think many of us would. But then you've got to ask yourself the question, if that choice wasn't there, if that cure wasn't there, we wouldn't have this dilemma. Which then begs the question, should we stop completely testing on animals? My answer is yes. My answer is yes, because what are we actually doing? We're extending our lives to the point where we get more problems through living longer than we should be living. Cancers start manifesting in old age. A lot of problems start manifesting in old age. Skin problems, urinary problems, digestive problems. And that's all to do with age. These people who are needing kidneys, it's lifestyle. And again, if people took up a whole food plant-based diet, they wouldn't be suffering from heart disease, they wouldn't be suffering from type 2 diabetes, and then in turn they wouldn't be getting CKD. The kidneys wouldn't be affected. And with the amount of people those figures I gave you were 2016. Let me see if I can find a more recent figure. Okay, so more than 1 in 7, 15% of US adults, or 37 million people, are estimated to have CKD. As many as 9 in 10 adults with CKD do not know they have CKD. About 2 in 5 adults with severe CKD do not know they have CKD. CKD is more common in people aged 65 years or older. CKD is slightly more common in women than men. I wonder why that is. CKD is more common in non-Hispanic black adults than in non-Hispanic white adults or non-Hispanic Asian adults. $37 million, and that's just in the US. That's just in the US. So there's a whole new industry being built. There's a whole new industry being built to fix something that could be fixed by dietary changes. So we could get the whole of the US could go vegan, but then we'd have this whole new industry breeding pigs and genetically modifying them to create organs to fix us. I mean, alright, fair enough. There is people born with defects, with problems. I'm not demonising everybody who have problems in their life and maybe turn to drink or eat excessively, which in turn causes problems, high blood pressure, obesity, type 2 diabetes. I've not got issue with that. And I think everybody's got the right to be saved from a horrible disease. But at the cost of what? At the cost of what? We're taking away these animals' autonomy. We're using them as growing machines for body parts, for humans. Because this tap has been opened now. This tap has been opened. They've worked out how to get a human animal to accept an organ from a non-human animal. So what will be next? Heart, lungs, liver. I mean, they're already using pig valves in hearts, aren't they? They're already using pig skin for burn victims. Whether they still do that, I don't know. But do we really need to extend the life? We're already nearly 8 billion in number because we're living longer. We're extending the life. If we didn't do these animal experiments, people would die of certain causes at maybe 60 years old, 70 years old. Oh, 60, that means I've only got 5 years left. Maybe that's a little bit too far. But should we be allowed to die of natural causes? You know, yeah, the young people on this world, they deserve a go at life. But back in the day, in the natural order of things, we used to have big families, you know, to counteract the fact that some of us would die, you know. We've now come to the point where we don't have big families. A lot of us don't have big families because the medical knowledge is out there to help with most problems. But we're all living a lot longer. We're all living a lot longer, unnaturally long. We're not dying out as we should. And again, that's having an impact on the planet. This has mashed my head, this, because there's so much to talk about with this. So what we're actually doing, if we look at it, is we're using pigs and genetically modifying pigs to save the lives of people who are in the state they're in because they've been eating pigs. And we'll give them pig kidneys to keep them alive to continue eating more pigs. I mean, I'm not against medical pushes like this forwards. But what I am against is using animals without the consent and creating a market, a big market, a multi-billion-dollar market to cure humans of diseases and problems that are caused by the dietary choices. for the mainstay. All right, there's environmental issues, there's pollution, you know, there's other factors. But heart disease and type 2 diabetes are pretty much, and cancers. There's a lot of disease pretty much caused totally by dietary choices. But it's the ethical side. It's the ethical side that's getting me. It's the ethical side of creating an industry that could see it going large scale. So we're already seeing declines and increases in vegan alternatives, plant-based alternatives for milks and for meats and meat replacements. We see massive changes, which in turn must be reducing the demand for animal products. But now there's a new industry opened up that is going to increase the demand for these animals to be mass bred. Where will it stop? Do you know, it could get to a point where there's a really ill person and they end up with a pig heart and a pig liver and a pig kidney, and before you know it, they'll be 99% pig.
You know, we've always had a bit of human flesh in the diet there, and I think if we took that out, then our health would probably suffer. So pigs.
And then they'll be using those people who are 99% pig to help cure somebody else with problems with their organs. It's like, what the hell? It just reminds me of an old TV show called Bullseye that used to be on, where if you lost, they used to show you what you could have won, you know?
When they used to lose on Bullseye, what did Tim Bowen used to say? Let's have a look at what you could have won, yes, my friend. Let's have a look at what you could have won. Kick and win the down, Jim. We're going to Celtic room, my friend. Let's have a look. He's big speedboat on us, showing them. Bring it on, boys. Boom, 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 boom.
And this is what it's like. It's like, if we didn't have these researches in place and get these results and make these discoveries, we wouldn't really miss them, would we? We wouldn't really miss them. We'd just accept that we're going to die of this disease. And what else does that do? If they created a cure, for smoking, not for smoking, for lung cancer. Well, I've given it away now, haven't I? But if they created a cure for lung cancer that was just a tablet, would you really give up smoking? Would you start smoking? So people ain't gonna stop eating animals and animal products on the health side of things. Because, like it or not, vegans, go away, fruit fly. Like it or not, vegans, some people do go plant-based for the health reasons, and that helps the vegan cause. It slows down the demand. They do help the vegan cause, like it or not. But are people less likely to go plant-based? Are they less likely to go plant-based if there's a cure to solve the problem that not being plant-based will cause, that eating animals will cause? What a dilemma. It's like the stents for heart disease people with high cholesterol. The easiest thing and the best way to treat people with high cholesterol and heart disease is to adopt a plant-based diet. There's no solid proof it reverses it. But if you catch it early enough, which they always tell you to do, so your cholesterol's high, they should be being told to go plant-based, to eat vegetable foods, to stop eating meat, to stop eating dairy, to stop eating eggs. They should be told that. And that will stop it from progressing any further and drop the cholesterol down. That's what should be happening. Not waiting for people to top out on the cholesterol, start with atherosclerosis, get heart disease, and then be given stents. This is what this does. Should we stop researching? Is this urge to live longer and cure disease a good thing for humanity? It's certainly not a good thing for the animals, the non-human animals that are being abused, enslaved, pushed into barns and sheds in terrible conditions, and then ultimately murdered for food, just because when we do damage ourselves from eating these products, we can get cured. Would we really miss something if it wasn't there? How do you know you're poor until you meet a rich person? You know? How do you know you're poor until you meet a rich person? You don't. What do you guys think? Put your comments down below and let me know. Would you take a kidney if you were dying? Would you take a pig kidney if you were dying? Would you allow your daughter, your son, your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, if it was your choice, would you allow them to have a pig kidney to save their life? Is it vegan to take one of these transplants? Is it vegan? Because a lot of other shit that we take is tested on animals, is animal derived. It's alright to talk the talk. It's alright to talk the talk, but could you really walk the walk when it comes to making that decision? We can all be tough as nails, can't we? When it comes to it, no, I wouldn't do it. But would you really? Would you really say no and die? Is this good for society? Let me know. Save the animals, save the planet, save yourself. Eat a plant-based diet. Stop abusing animals. You won't get diseases if you just stop. Go vegan.